Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and in this video, I want to share with you my thoughts on which Bangboo is best to pick for your first S-rank Bangboo as well. For those of you who are wondering, how do you get to even this page to be able to select them? It takes roughly around 5 to 6 hours into the game, assuming you skip all the story, and that's when you have this new banner pop up. It's a special pool coupon that you get. It's called Boopons. These are free. They give it to you, a lot of it for free. You can pretty much get one of them guaranteed for free, the one that you select, which is why I think it's very important. The first one is going to help us in our account quite a bit because they do give quite a lot of massive stats. If you look at the stats here, they do quite a lot more than the 4 stars even at base value, and of course each of them have different stats. But I want to share with you in a nutshell what I think is probably better for your overall account. All of our accounts are different, but the rule of thumb generally is going to be the same. I will tune the recommendations accordingly to your account also as we go along the video. So let's start off with the first group of people, and there are so many different group of people, right? People who pulled or are thinking of pulling Ellen. You have Rena, you have Lycan, or you have Corin, the free character, and you're thinking of building a team around them. The first thing you must understand is all these Bangboos are restricted by their B category. So you see here, when you click the B for each of them, you will see what is the requirement for you to have to prop this additional effect. When there are 2 Bellabog heavy industries in your team, you then prop this chain attack. You don't necessarily have to have 2 Bellabog to use the safety Bangboo, for example, but you generally do want to have 2 so they can make best use of the Bangboo. If not, it's just going to be like a stat stick with A and C. That's not ideal, but it's still okay in a nutshell. So out of all of them, they all have different requirements. If you are talking about the most generic one, right? I think the Butler Bangboo is the best. Butler Bangboo, let's just talk about, before we even jump into the first section of people, if you have no characters at all, you just put random team, this guy gives you a generic energy for whatever agent is on field. Free energy battery, which is very, very nice. And if you have 2 Victoria housekeeping, you generate the Bangboo generates more energy when active skill generates additional 20%. So what this means is this A here, this active skill, you see this energy that it generates is 20% more when you have 2 Victoria housekeeping units on your team, which is nice, but it's only 20%, so you can actually have the versatility of your roster, super versatile effect he has, and it's very, very usable regardless. That's why I think the Butler Bangboo is probably one of the best, but especially so for Ellen and Lycan, Rena team compositions with Corin, because as long as you have one of the S rank, you are able to prop this effect very, very easily regardless. So why some of you might be wondering Butler versus the Sharkboo for Ellen or Lycan in that case. And the problem with Sharkboo is that it's focused on ice attribute, and a lot of the other ice attribute stuff are pretty much the same. You have here, you can see Sharkboo's active skill is does some damage, ice anomaly build up. And if you're not focusing on ice anomaly, that crowd control, if you are running like 2 ice, you generally have quite a lot of ice application already, which is why I think, especially early on in the game, you want to consider your account to tackle more content. If you're just playing ice, you might be weak to certain characters or not strong against certain characters, rather than if you're playing like a hybrid ice, as Victoria Housekeeping has electric inside, has physical inside as well. So this allows you a lot more versatility when the meta shifts up and down, and also you can play much more characters and still get some kind of utility, rather than if you're stuck with a specific ice anomaly kind of unit and then the meta rotates out of ice, then you're kind of like stuck with a stat stick and you much rather use like A rank, which for those of you who are wondering, A ranks are extremely strong. There's an A rank that does almost like Butler also, but if any of you like got a different one, there's an A rank that's good. We'll talk about it in another video, but let's go on to the rest of the S rank, which is the main point of this video as well. So for Victoria Housekeeping ones, I think Butler is definitely the best, and the similar logic applies to the other major factions as well, which is your Cunning Hairs and also your Bellabog Heavy Industries, which is your Safety Boo, and also your Cunning Hairs Boo, which is 1,000,000. These 2 are faction specific, but unlike the Butler Bangboo, you don't get the versatility of the A being very, very generic. So 1,000,000 is a damage dealer. You can see over here, deals massive physical damage. You have the C here, the chain attack deals massive physical damage. Bangboo chain attack basically means what he does when he swaps in and helps you attack as well. So Butler here is just also some sort of physical damage. The Safety Boo, I would say out of all 3 of them, is probably one of the stronger ones in terms of combat. He has a good amounts of like interruption on the enemy. Smaller monsters get very interrupted by this guy. Distracts bosses at times also from what I experienced in the betas. Good amounts of damage, physical application. This Bangboo is also quite generic. The combo here is if it's burning or shocked, which means you want to play into some sort of anomaly application, team compositions with Grace, with Collider, Ben, etc., Anton, all are pretty good as well. And it's only just like 20% chain attack damage increase, but this is probably one of the stronger fighting Bangboos out of all of them that I feel is. So I would recommend these three, depending on what is your S rank. If you got Collider, Grace, consider going for safety. If you are planning to pull Ellen, I would say Butler is probably highest priority. A million is if you got Necromata, or you're planning to play with a lot of, if you're planning to play with Nicole and for example a +1 and you want a bit more flexibility, a million is also decent to get going, a bit of a stat stick on field as well. Whereas if you're a general, you don't know what to pick, I think Butler is the best and most generic out of all them. We all get one Corrin for free. If you just pull one Lycan Rena, who's like support and stun, which is quite flexible, Butler is very, very good, and you immediately can proc the effect with like Corrin for most people already. The others are very, very specific. As we mentioned, all these are specific anomaly bonuses, physical bonuses. They are good, but I think you can always pull it later on when we start building up more of the tokens, the Boo Pawns. As we clear the Hollow Zero, we get more of them. So these are generally, I would say, later game Bangboos, which we can think about. And if you're a Zhu Yuan puller, you're wondering, oh, EOD, which one do I get? The one that's Aether Element is Radiation Effect, but I do suspect when we get a new character in, they might also release one new one, for example, her faction specific one. That might be something more interesting than going for a Radiation Effect. In fact, if you go for a character like Butler, you might still get quite good utility out of the energy restoration that the Butler gives as well for a character like Zhu Yuan. So that's my thoughts on a Zhu Yuan, Resonant Boo, and etc. And we talked about quite a lot. Okay, and I just want to add a little bit of value to you for any of you who maybe want to go for a more specific route, but you want the generic goodness of Butler. Consider Explorer Boo. I think this is a pretty solid A rank Bangboo. We'll talk about the other A ranks and when I think it's actually better. And in fact, there's a lot of them that have a place. They are not useless once you get an S rank. The Explorer Boo is worth considering. I just want to share with you a bit of value add in this ending of this section. If you look at the ability here, you have HP recovery, shield increase, energy restoration. It's a random one occasionally that it procs, but this is very, very strong because you get a lot of buffs as you are in the Hollow Zero. Healing is crazy, shielding is also crazy, a bit of energy is always useful. So I think that this is going to be a very underrated Bangboo, and people are going to underrate it because it's A rank, which people think is naturally less good, but this is super generic, super, super good. All you need is to have one support character in your team, which chances are is very, very easy to do because Nicole is already free. Nicole's a support, so most of us can actually prop this. But it's, of course, I think random, but it's a free gacha because Boo pins are generally for free. But yeah, otherwise, guys, there's a lot of other content on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and see you in the next video.